My name is Sheriq Jackson, and my wife and I are creating the best sci-fi fantasy comic series in the world, INFINIUM. I've been developing this series for about 7 years now. These new videos are essentially me sharing my world with you. I'll show you my character designs, creature designs, concept art, share some lore and plot in a cinematic manner with sounds, music, and art to essentially help you get the most immersive experience possible. I want you to love this series as much as I do. I spent an awful lot of time on it, and now with the help of my wife, we have something we're proud to share with the world. In this video, we cover Donin's lore and how he came to the current point he's at in the story. Part 1 is free to read on webtoon if you want to check that out before watching his lore. Volume 1 of INFINIUM has 6 main protagonists: Donin, Marin, Jace, Nicole, Tobu, and Soba. Donin is what's known as a Sicorian, a brutal race of higher beings hell-bent on conquest, or so they were, until Donin's eldest brother and soon-to-be king of Sicoria had his coronation day. Donin was happy for him, but he knew what having his meek older brother in such a position of power meant, and still, he stood by his brother's side as his general. The Vandarak, a warrior race much like the Sicorians, came from distant realms to honor the young king's rule with an offer, a treaty of peace. In exchange for no subjugation of their people, the Sicorians are hereby ordered by the leader of the Vandarak to give half of their resources and full control of their armies. The Sicorians sneered at such a demand.
Who the hell does this Tyr think he's conversing with? You know where you are.
The Sicorians draw their blades. The Vandarak raise fists in a blast-bracing stance. Malachi runs over, Donin not too far behind, his hand on the handle of his blade. The potential skirmish is quickly diffused by Malachi's diplomatic nature. In the calm of the storm, the Sicorians are informed where they stand in the looming battle for a unified Vandoris. Due to the superior positioning of Vandoris and the recent treaty signed with their newfound allies, they predict a swift subjugation of all immediate realms near them. With the resources and strength of those realms, this victory is all but assured. Now yes, the Sicorians are strong, but can they beat the entire enclave? Disgusting Vandaraki! Donin cuts down the Vandarak, and the Sicorian beside him runs the other through. This is Sicoria! We conquer! We are not conquered! Malachi shows great concern for killing the ambassadors. Donin and many others brush aside his qualms with glorious talk of Sicoria's strength. Many months pass and the Vandarak ambassadors keep coming, only to never return home to Vandoris. The Sicorians will not submit. Brother, we need to heed their warnings. We need to stop having council meetings and take them before they get any stronger. The longer we wait, the worse the casualties will be. That is my point. They are already too strong. You are my general. You should know when and where to swing your sword, but also when and where to lay it down. Donin, we are not the Sicorians of old. Then do as I have requested for months and make the young train as I did in the old ways. To hell with rank. We all need to be strong if we are to kill them. You're not listening. You are not listening. You expect us to roll over and show our bellies? We submit to the Vandarak? Under your rule. Malachi, the great disappointment. The stain on Sicoria's legacy. The king that brought us to ruin. I would have us submit. Yes, great equipoise, what the hell are you saying? To buy us the time we need to bolster our numbers, rebuild our people into the truly fearsome people we once were, so we will be liberated by oppression. You sound like one of the council members. You spend too much time with them. Come with me. Be in the field. Learn these strategies. There isn't enough time. Billions of realms in this enclave. They cannot teleport to us. It would take them a great many years. It won't work, Donin. What are you scared of? I am not scared. The people need to see their king training as well, bolstering himself for battle. The scouts came back. We saw their armada. Donin, we cannot beat them. The Sicorian Empire will be in alliance with the Vandarak, effective immediately. What? But that doesn't mean it's over. We will fight back someday. Work from the inside. The councilmen have spies that are ready to begin the first phase of our plan. You made these designs without me? Your general? You wouldn't see my side. But with this, you'll see. I'm leading us to victory. It's just over a longer time horizon. You have killed us all. Donin, the Vandarak will kill us all the moment we've served our use to them. Mind your tongue when addressing your brother, His Majesty. I will remove your spine from your body, old man. You will get us all killed, Malachi. This plan will not work. The Vanderak will not play fair. We didn't. No one else has.
It is decided, Donin. Your brother is the acting realm lord. Any continued protest against his word will be considered an act of treason. Very well. I should tend to the Vanderak's new army then. My king, may I be excused? Donin, may I be excused, your majesty? Yes. He leaves the war room and immediately convenes with the older, more battle-hardened Sicorians. He presents the issue at hand, and it doesn't take long to reach the conclusion. Malachi was unfit to rule, and thus, Donin had hatched a plan to kill his brother. Donin wasn't next in line, but in Sikoria, the strong can still rule at any point if they can take and hold the throne. He felt sick just thinking about it in detail. He would set out to kill his own kin, his big brother. He wasn't thrilled at the idea, but what other course is there to take? He cleared his mind. His brother was going to be Sikoria's ruin. There was no other course of action. Donin proceeded to meet with the warriors each night for the next 2 weeks, prepping and planning for the coup. With each meeting, their numbers grew. Many Sicorians were not happy with Malachi's weakness, but saw no way out of this Vanderaki hellscape. Donin was a solution. The older Sicorians gave Donin any pertinent information they had to aid in the development of this plan, as well as their concerns. They wouldn't leave anything to chance. The day of the coup was a busy one. Malachi and his councilmen prepared to send precious Sicorian resources and soldiers to Vanderak. They couldn't let these Vanderaki designs come to fruition. The hallways of the Citadel were a little less full this day. The Sicorians on guard cannot help but notice, and nor can Malachi.
Where in Equipoise name are my damn soldiers? Well, we are not quite sure, Your Grace. All of your forces seem to have up and vanished, my lord. Not to mention how odd things have been around here as of late. Perhaps your brother, and all on the day I need a proper head count, no less. I will get to the truth of the matter, and you will see that your spies spin lies to appease you, councilman. Very well, Your Grace. My lord, grant me your strength. Give unto me your everlasting life, and I will give to you souls ripe with the energy you breathed into them. We await your command, my general. He opens his eyes as he speaks, rises afterward, and leaves out of the room. Donin makes his way out of the building, down the steps, and standing before the gathering of angry and battle-ready Sicorians. His gaze sweeps across the sea of helms and blade handles. He can see the chokehold their resolve keeps their sights fixed upon. For a safer Sicoria, an independent Sicoria. For the realm their ancestors laid their roots into. All of the Enclave was once theirs, and now if he lets his brother live, none of it will be. Without a word between a single one of them, they march on the Citadel, through the streets and up to the steps of the main castle. The Sicorian folk look on silently, no one lifting a finger to stop them. Even the citizens can see that this is truly the only way. They merely don't have the strength to act on it. With Donin goes their last hope of becoming as they once were. Waiting at the base of the steps, Donin and his warriors begin their war taunt. They beat their breastplates in unison. Meanwhile, Malachi and his councilmen look over the war room table, debating which of their new trade routes should be used for the transportation of the resources and men. When they are interrupted by the harrowing sound of a Sicorian war taunt, they look among one another with a unanimous look of fear and certainty of who it is leading the assault. They rush to the castle entrance. Malachi, distraught and confused, looks down in horror at the massive gathering of Sicorian warriors, committing themselves to an all or nothing. Brother, what is the meaning of this? Just then, a Sicorian hurls a spear at him. A guard catches the weapon and throws it down. Donin points his blade, and they burst up the castle steps. Malachi's guards rush him inside and close the doors shut. Just then, the Sicorians reach the entrance and begin breaking the doors down. Donin walks up the steps as they charge forward, Malachi backing up slowly. My king, we must move you at once. They grab him and swiftly move down the corridor. As they do, royal guards rush past them in the opposite direction. Just then, Donin and his men break through the doors and run forward. Without a moment of hesitation, their blades clash. Metal from the same forge, men of the same race, brothers, sisters, fathers, and mothers alike, cutting each other down without a moment's breath to stop and think. Donin reaches the top and begins to pick up his speed, running his sword through a royal guard, then another, weaving a powerful blow and exchanging one of his own. With each strike, he grows more and more restless, slowly making his way through the battle into the corridor his brother fled down. More guards pour in, and Donin's numbers begin to dwindle. He looks to one of his warriors, and they both understand their strategy will have to change. As if done so telepathically, they all begin to form a semicircle, their blades sticking out forward, spears peeking through where they can, and shields to create more resistance. They move forward on their enemy, killing as many as they can manage. Like oil poured in water, they push forward until they reach the corridor, shoving them out and causing them to spill out the sides of the warriors' formation. With a swift turnabout, the warriors block off the corridor and hold the guards. Now making swift work of the ones that remain, Donin and a few of his Korean warriors push on and clip the soldiers riddled throughout the hallways, fighting with no other intention than to kill and conquer. An hour passes. Malachi paces in his throne room, forced to listen to the muffled slaughtering of his people by his people.
Father, this is madness. Let me talk to him. Do not be foolish. Your brother has enough resolve for Sequoia 3 times over. You know that if he has made it this far, he means to kill you and take your throne. I agree that you should leave this throne room, but not to talk. What you ask of me? What I ask of you is to stand up and be a king. The Vanderak are one thing, but this is your little brother, and a bastard at that. His only claim to that throne is when the light behind your eyes has been snuffed out. I am not him. I am not his ways, and nor am I yours to command. I am being a king, as I deem fit. The kind Sequoia truly needs. Not warmongers are kind, has bred for eons.
When he breaches this rule, he will not even make it up the steps of your throne. And then, you will have a decision to make. Malachi looks to his father, and then away at the ground.
Gah!
He beats in his skull and throws his helm at another. His back slashed. He spins back and lops off her head. Kicking another in the chest, the doors of the throne room burst open. Malachi's high guard takes to the halls and begins mowing down Donin's men. His warrior backfists his opponent and runs his blade through his gut. Just then his head is abruptly removed. His body hits the ground just as Donin glances over.
Warriors, to me!
The high guard drops another warrior, and the cacophony of clinks and bangs of crude metal grind it to a halt. And in that very moment, Donin realized he was alone. Standing amongst a sea of his own kin, their blood would be on his hands now, so he better make their sacrifices worth it. Clutching the handle of his blade tightly between his fists, he takes in a deep breath. A high guard flourishes a sword. There wasn't a chance in hell they'd give him a moment to pray and heal, so he would have to do this as a mortal man. It makes no difference to him. He exhales at last and fixes his gaze on the future of his people. The high guard wastes not a moment. All 6 push him at once. The organization of their attacks is overwhelming. He holds his ground as best he can. His shoulder is pierced. The guard tries to run him back, and he braces himself. The floor kicks up slightly behind as he does, breaking off the blade with his forearm and breaking in his opponent's helm with his fist. He attempts to stab one in the face, but his blade is caught, his side slashed, and his back run through. As he does, he shoves his blade through the guard's helm and backfists the one that attacked him, growing weaker and weaker with every passing moment, every limb screaming at him to stop. Yet still he presses on, down to 4 high guards, and he is at the entryway of his brother's throne room, shoving them back despite his many wounds, a hack at his shoulder, and his stance falters. And a gash is cut across his face. Using the low position, he lunges upward through the guard's torso. He ducks down and pulls the blade from the guard, turns and swings on the guard behind him. Down to 3 high guards. He's parried and kicked to the ground.
Finish it!
Donin stammers and wildly swings at another with a shout.
Ah!
Malachi looks on with a deeply disturbed expression. Their father's arms folded as he watches sternly. Donin swings again and again until he finds his feet, straining and grunting hard with each wheezy breath. Blood streams down his face, and his vision momentarily blurs from exhaustion. He blocks an oncoming attack and exchanges blows with the guard in front of him, blocking the one behind him with a flourish. Inching toward with each slash, his arms tremble with each sting of the vibration from the parries.
Donin, stop this!
He lops off the head of one. 2 high guards remain. They launch themselves at him. Just then, more guards pour into the throne room. Donin blocks one attack but receives another from the side. The guard running up behind him weaves his swing and kicks out the back of his leg. Another drives his blade through the back of Donin's knee. He collapses to one, swings away the blade of the high guard in front of him. The royal guards surround him and place their blades at his neck. Malachi stands at his throne above his younger brother, just at the steps. Why, Donin? Why would you do this? We had a plan! You will lead us to ruin. No! That will not be so! I will lead us to victory in the end. I wish you could have seen that! You are weak. You will be nothing. And Socoria will be in ruin. And all of you will wish that I had succeeded this day. And it's a shame you'll never live to see if you were right. No. What? I will not. I cannot. You must. No! I will not have my kingdom built on the bones of my baby brother. There's been enough bloodshed on this day, Father. You had your time to rule. Be still and let me have mine. Boy, you are making a mistake. Look at him. I can see. Look at him. I can see. Look at him. Your own kin, your baby brother, and a monster. He meant to take your life this day. And you would have him set free. Sent to prison for a few thousand years. I told you before. Malachi raises his hand. His father falls angrily silent. Take my brother to the brig. Remove his armor. Take his weapons. Brand him with the mark of a traitor. And feed him nothing. Donin rests against the wall of his cell, staring forward at the wall across from him. Just then the main door is heard in the distance, followed by footsteps.
Donin?
Marin. Val, thank you. What fate awaits me?
Malachi is still wanting your exile. But, Father...
I won't let that son of a bitch lay a hand on you, baby, I swear it. We can get him to my realm tonight.
No.
What? Yes, if we sneak you out, we can...
Marin, that will never work.
Then I'll come with you.
Marin, no. This fate is not yours to be burdened with.
You are my husband. I love you. I'll go where you go, and I don't care.
Baby, you cannot get on my ship without anyone noticing.
I have a way to get her on. But it is dangerous. If I'm going to do this, I need your word that you will return home someday and make this right. You should have been our king this day. Malachi is unfit to rule. He is weak. And someday soon, I fear our people will rebel as you did. But that would be...
The most undesirable outcome.
Yes.
I'm coming. For better or worse, I'm coming.
And it would seem I am currently powerless to stop you.
Time's up!
I love you.
And I love you.
I will be expecting your swift return, brother. Do not leave me with these idiots for any longer than necessary.
Donin stands on a hangar ledge, his family only a few feet behind. The remaining high guard at his brother's side, and Malachi in the middle standing front and center. Socoria reporters film and broadcast the ordeal live for all of Socoria to see. As acting realm lord of the Socorian Empire, on this day, I hereby decree that my younger brother, Donin Kalik, be excommunicated from Socoria. Her people, her resources, and her assistance. If he is to ever return to Socoria, any Socorians found aiding and abetting my brother will be considered treasonous and executed on the spot. He will be met with full force of our fleets and soldiers. He is to be executed if captured. And with this, I exile you from Socoria. May you never return, and may you never know leadership. He steps aside. Donin walks up next to Malachi. You should have listened to your father. Malachi looks at him. I will be back for the throne. And I will kill you. And I will be prepared. The autopilot will take you far out of the Enclave, as far as you can go. The restraints will automatically release once you are far from here. Do us both a favor, and never come back. Donin passes him and boards his ship. The autopilot engages, and the ship takes off, leaving the Enclave, and leaving everyone unsure of what fate awaits him. But he knows very well that the throne will be his. This was a rough backstory for one of the main protagonists in INFINIUM. If you love this and want to see where the story goes from here, head over to webtoon and type in INFINIUM. This is the one you'll be looking for. So far, we only have part 1 released. Part 2 includes 2 more protagonists and is to be released soon.